So tempted to leave that music playing. It's so good, it's so good. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. My name is Graham Day, and I always get the wrong hand, but I think I remember this guy just here in the box on the screen is We've Got Babino. Morning, babe.
Good morning. Happy Thursday.
Stop stirring your tea.
Dickhead.
Off-screen joke there. Look, my camera's like struggling with the lighting in my room today. 1 minute it's like I'm pale anyway, but 1 minute it's kind of like white, then the next minute it's like darker.
You're like Daz White, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Good morning! Today we are back for the 4th edition of The Scoop this week. It is Thursday the 14th of November 2019, and we have some pretty tasty pieces of news to discuss with you guys today. Obviously, if you don't know what this is The Scoop on ice cream. Ice cream, scoop, ice cream, scoop. Get it. Anyway, we bring you our scoop of the news from the games industry and beyond, and we tell you what we think about it. And do you know what? We let you tell us what we think about it. I almost didn't learn how to word then. But yes, feel free to get in touch to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. If you're watching there right now, then feel free to get involved in the chat. You could impact the show, and that's not only impacting live on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. That will also be impacting the video on demand later for the guys watching on youtube.com/Ice Cream Uploads. And also our 4 podcast services, which I'm going to try and go through now. They are SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play.
Well done.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
It's almost like I've been practicing off air for 6 hours in a row, over and over and over. I haven't, but did I? Phew! 4 hours late, says Dad and Lad Game in the chat. Good morning! No, you are not late. You are right on time. Actually, a little bit early. I mean, we are kind of late. Obviously, we say 10 a.m. It's now 10:26, and we've been live for about 2 minutes. So, yeah, kind of. 10 a.m.-ish. But thank you for being here, Dan and Lad, and BK Connor dropping all of the heart emojis in the chat with a hey guys. Morning. Still love those founders badges on Twitch as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just imagine.
Separates the men from the boys.
When we're just passing 20 million followers, 10 million subs on Twitch, and you're still going to be able to rep that founders badge. GG. Good effort. I mean, you could probably get one now. I think it's like the first 20... subscribers to a channel, although maybe we've had more than 20 subs now. I don't know. Probably, I assume we have. But maybe, I don't know. There's only one way to find out. Subscribe to the channel and you will see! That's about that for a roundabout sales pitch. I don't know if you can get something. There's only one way to find out!
Give us money.
Give us the money. So, babe, obviously we streamed yesterday, and it was probably the most electrifying stream that's ever been streamed in the history of electrifying streams. Then after that, Josie played some Death Stranding, and then after that, you came back for an encore, a bibcore. How was the bibcore stream last night?
Absolutely. Well, we were just hitting you all with a triple threat yesterday. So if you didn't know that was going to be streamed yesterday, you didn't listen to all of the show, as I mentioned that we'll be going live beforehand. And you also don't follow us on any of our social platforms, so go ahead and do that. You can find us on Ice Cream Uploads on all social platforms. But yeah, I streamed some Battlefield purely because our community seems to be as useless as I am. I put up a tweet saying, what shall I play? Battlefield, FIFA Volta, ding, 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 or FIFA Pro Clubs, ding, ding, ding. So I posted that up, and I managed to get like 33% off. It's like 44% on Battlefield and Pro Clubs. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I ended up playing Battlefield, and I said, if people want to play Pro Clubs, you can join the party, and we'll go from there, kind of thing. But we just ended up playing Battlefield. Played 5, won 5. I said that I'm the best engineer in the business. Please feel free to go and watch the VOD, because you are going to see some. It's a masterclass.
People getting drilled left, right, and centre, and then there's Bibby actually drilling left, right, and centre.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a perfect way to show people when you say that you're the best at something, and you go ahead and you show the world how good you are at being the best at something. There's no better feeling, mate. Played 5, won 5,
back to back.
Absolutely. I mean, when you get in the top 5, 10 every single game, by only having a few kills but supporting, playing the objective. What's the analogy, mate? Is it PTO? Play the objective.
PTFO.
Play the fucking objective. That's all you need to do. Just play the objective, and your scores will soar.
Do you know
That's exactly what we did yesterday, and we're showing it.
I'm realising that we need more emotes spaces. So therefore, we need more subscribers to unlock those, because we need a PTFO emote, and we also need a ding 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 emote as well, just for when we're doing the scoop, people can go ding ding ding. PUBG, Valorant, ding, ding, ding.
Top 10 on your team, so surely you're not even the best in the lobby. No, well, you see, people who are always in the top 3 of Conquest are usually the assault players. They'll be the ones with like 15 to 20 kills, whereas I'm placing the top 10 by having 3 or 4 kills. But because I played the objective, mate, and them scores are racking up. Do you know what I mean? It's the easy thing to do. If you want to have high deaths and high kills, go and play team deathmatch. I don't fucking need you on my team. We only want the real ones that play the objective.
The ones carrying you. Kappa, says Connor. Hey guys, says Edson. How you doing, Ed? Morning.
Morning, Ed.
Is this the first time you've joined us live on the Scoop? Obviously you've been here before, but I don't know if you've been in for the Scoop. But yeah, morning. Tuning just in time to hear Bibby tell everyone how he, as an engineer, manufactured victories, dubs left, right, and centre. It's got more W's than KSI's timeline at the moment. Damn.
Absolutely.
Speaking of W's and the opposite end of that, L's, let's jump in to our first piece of news from the day, and this is written by Matt Wales at Eurogamer. And there we go, it's loaded up. I didn't think it was loaded up then, it took a little bit of time. But Rockstar apologises for Red Dead Redemption 2's wobbly PC launch. More fixes out today, and a free poncho for all. If there's no free ponchos, I am going to riot by the time we get to the end of this article. Matt Wales, we will see. Rockstar has apologised for Red Dead Redemption 2's wobbly launch on PC last week and is releasing a new update featuring a range of fixes today. It's also giving PC players a free Red Dead Online Poncho 2 as a show of gratitude.
Excited. Oh, God.
Lovely. Red Dead Redemption 2 finally arrived on PC last week, but what should have been a time to toss Stetsons skyward in celebration proved to be less than stellar for many. Initial problems prevented some players from opening Rockstar's launcher, let alone the game itself, were quickly addressed, but reports of performance issues have continued to dog the game. Now, in a statement posted to its website, Rockstar has addressed the problems Red Dead Redemption 2 owners have been grappling with on PC since launch day. Over the past week, it wrote, we have been working as quickly as possible to address issues that have impacted the launch of the PC version of Red Dead Redemption 2. However, we are aware that a small number of Red Dead Redemption 2 PC players are still experiencing some ongoing problems with the game stuttering. Rockstar attributes these latter issues to specific combinations of NVIDIA graphics drivers, NVIDIA GPU cards, and certain CPUs, and is hoping to remedy stuttering alongside a host of other fixes in today's update. However, it will continue to work with NVIDIA on a fix to completely resolve the stuttering issue. Something that I clearly need when I'm reading these news articles, which is something that will likely take up to a few days to properly test everything and ensure that the next update completely solves the problem. And then they go on to apologise and so on, and gratitude about the ponchos and things.
It's interesting that this game has been out. Was it near enough bang on a year that it got ported over to the PC from the console generation?
Yeah, it was definitely pre-Christmas 2018, because I remember having a chat with Lewis at the Jelly Ice Cream Christmas Pie 2018, saying that you still not finished it, need to get through it. So yeah, I reckon it's probably maybe even a touch more than a year.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't. It's always tough releasing a AAA game like this when it comes to, because everyone. It's not as if you're just releasing it for a console, which everybody has the same console, or maybe you've got a PS4 Pro and then a normal PlayStation. Sometimes there might be a little bit of a jitteriness on there, but I mean, everyone's got different CPUs, everyone's got different GPUs, so it's never going to be one fix for all. But for it to be so bad that they have to come out and show some gratitude is
you get a
painful,
poncho,
really.
And you get a poncho. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we watched Break not yesterday, last week. He was booting it up for the first time, and it seemed to run all right on his PC, but obviously he's probably playing on like a $4,500 worth of kit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting that
I imagine
they're having to give people this.
Probably gone from a top-down approach. I imagine they've sat there and they've tested, say, like ROG Strix motherboards with RTX 2080 Ti graphics card, and then work their way down. So then, if you get one of the more spurious ones, like what was the one that Luke got the other day? It was like a 1660 something, which I'd never even kind of heard of, but it's obviously one of the smaller graphics cards. Anyway, so it packs a lot of power, smaller package, but obviously less widely used. So I imagine it's probably the people that have got things like that they've gone, oh shit, we hadn't actually. So yeah, maybe that's the way it is. I don't know. I'm purely guessing there. I mean, like you say, there's a lot.
Sorry, I was just move on to say that Ed said it came out on November 18th. If you're close, it's the 26th of October. But yeah, like you said, it's a strange one. They're always going to have teething problems. I'm fairly certain that they had this problem with GTA when it came to the PC as well. It was a week or two before it was like a smooth gameplay's worth of. I don't know what I'm doing with words today, but yeah,
stuttering issues back again.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I'm sure they had 1 or 2 weeks worth of glitches. I don't want to say glitches because that makes it sound really shit. Teething problems. We'll just use that. We'll use that terminology. They had a few teething problems when that came out, and they're having the same with this. But like you just went on to say, then people with different graphics cards, they're always going to have that issue because they're not going to be able to test it on absolutely everybody's performance PCs. Because mine's average compared to yours, and yours is quote air fingers or whatever average compared to someone who's a AAA streamer that's got a $6,500 PC. So yeah, it's not one size fits all.
I heard a phrase not too long ago, and I've used it on one of the previous shows of the Scoop, and it was not a phrase, more like an explanation. It's like people go, well, has it not been tested? And I've kind of said, then I bet they've probably top-down tested, and they might have top-down tested. They might have gone all the way through the graphics cards, but they might just be slight nuances in the setups and stuff that make it different. And the thing with any game, never mind one of the biggest games from one of the biggest publishers in the world, the thing with any game is no matter how much you test it, no matter how many hours you put into QA and stress testing and server testing and doing alphas and betas and stuff, no matter how much you do that, put all of that time, all of those hours spent together testing, and then put it on a wide release, and you will get more hours of testing live in the first hour of a game being out. No matter how many hours you do, you will get more data, more testing, and more feedback in 1 hour of a game being live than any testing, which kind of blows your mind, because you just think, well, they've not tested it. And it's like, no, they have tested it, but there's only so much testing that you can do. You either test forever and a game never comes out, or you test forever and then the cost of testing will money doesn't come from nowhere, so the cost from testing either makes your game more expensive or takes away from budgets from development or whatever. So not that people should shortchange the testing by any means, but there will always be a limit to the amount of testing you can do. And once a game goes live, that is the best way of testing anything. And there's things that you just can't test for. So stress testing on servers, even with a beta, even with a highly anticipated beta, not that Red Dead usually does betas, or Rockstar usually does betas, not that I don't think so. But if they did, that would be one of the most biggest and in-demand betas out there. But even still, the amount of people in the beta would pale into insignificance when you compare it to the live service. So go back to GTA, when GTA 4 went live, I remember it was like a full week where people were pretty much like setting fire to freaking effigies of Rockstar. I mean, they weren't, but they might as well have gone that way, because it was like, oh, it's a full week of it, and then it was like, boom, the game's perfect, and Rockstar on GTA Online has been going for 7 years since then, and nobody ever complains that, oh, it's massively down again for a couple of days, but that's the kind of thing. So it wobbly launch, yes, shitloads of tech and hardware issues. I mean, those are easier to overcome rather than the stress testing and server loads and things like that. But yeah, I mean, the fact that they fixed all of that stuff, and the game has been out for what, a week? 2 weeks? Oh, last week it says it came out in the start of the cycle. Yeah. So if they've done,
I think it was last week that we ended up watching it in the office. But this article is from yesterday, so the patch should have hit yesterday. This was just, like I said, this is yesterday's news kind of thing. It was a late one. So yeah, if you have got this game, boot it up, and then your changes should be automatically there for you.
Nice. I mean, that for me, that's what I like about Rockstar. Is I know they have all of the money in the world, and I know there's loads of opinions floating around at the moment about them having a crunch mentality and overworking people towards the end of product releases and stuff. Not even going to jump into that kettle of fish, but one thing I do like, as a result of that human slavery, no, I'm joking. One thing I do like as a result of the way they work, I mean, like I said, completely sidestepping any issues with that, is the fact that a game comes out and a week later, one of the biggest games in the world has had a patch and is now, as of yesterday, will have had a second update to it to make sure that it's working. And whilst the size of them obviously demands that, the fact that they've got Nvidia sat there working with them to make sure that everyone has the best experience, that's positive in my side of it.
Absolutely.
Obviously, there's always a negative, and I think that's kind of, you have to kind of take issues in game releases. You have to kind of take them with a pinch. If you live in 2019 and you sit there going, it's 2019, as if you can't get a game working on launch, then you need to slap yourself in the face. no, but if you live in 2019 and you don't understand the complexities, or you're not even thick-skinned to the point of, do you know what, I'm wise up to the fact that big games, or any games, can have teething issues at launch. I mean, if those issues go past 4, 6, 8 weeks, a couple of months or whatever, then yeah, it's not the greatest customer experience. But if a brand is fixing things within 7 days, 14 days, or 2 fixes within 7 days, then that's huge in terms of customer appreciation. So shit at launch, a bit wobbly as the said in the article, but everyone gets a free poncho, and who doesn't like ponchos?
Is it waterproof? That's what I want to know. Is it one of the ones that you get at Alton Towers before you go on any of the log flumes? But no, I mean, any kind of live service game like this, if they're intending on keeping the servers on for a long time, i.e. GTA 5, which is probably, well, it is the most successful game ever, purely because of how much content they're constantly adding. If you have a wobbly start, it's not the end of the world. You can pick it up, and then within 1 or 2 weeks, everyone's back to loving you, and everything goes all right on socials again. So it's just getting it right as fast as you can. If you know, if people are giving you enough feedback in the correct manner, shall we say, and the devs know where that fault is within the code, they can fix it pretty soon, and it looks like they've managed to do that. We'll find out within the next 2 days whether or not the fixes or the patch that they put out is worthy of them being congratulated. But yeah, if you have got a copy of this game, feel free to run it. Let us know. Tag us in on any of the Ice Cream Uploads. Let us know in the chat. We'll be delighted to be able to go through this with you again.
Absolutely. Didn't it come out on November 18th? Ed Sutton said you responded to that saying, no, it's October 26th. But damn it! So fucking far off. Close, but not always close.
It wasn't that far off, was it? I mean, what was it? No, that's October 28th.
26th. I think it's on
26th, yeah.
Yeah, I think it
was
was
that far. Good guess,
sarcasm. Ed. Even if everyone had the same hardware, there's overclocking and memory timings that can throw data processors off. Absolutely. That's the thing with PC. I suppose probably a flawed analogy. PC gaming is like Android, whereas console gaming is like Apple iOS. Console gaming is much more closed down. The hardware restrictions, the hardware is finite, as in you've either got the PS4, the PS4 Pro, or the Slim, although I think that's the same processing stuff as the standard PS4. And then you've got the Xbox One, the Xbox One X, the Xbox One S, in the same way that an iPhone only has certain devices. So making games work within those finite number of options is much easier than making a game for Android, where you have different phones with different screens, with different processors, and different manufacturers doing different things. And probably a flaw in that analogy somewhere, as I say, but that's that kind of way. It's easier to make consoles and fixes and stress test, and all the rest. And Asim, I'll jump on your comments, I can see them in the chat in a second, but Asim will probably be able to say from obviously he works at CI Games, he knows releasing content and games, which he is doing very, very soon, across consoles and PC. There's a lot, particularly when it comes to PC, there's a lot that can happen from an outside variable standpoint, as David mentioned. Overclocking and things like that. Even if you've got a GTX 1080 Ti, as I do sat there, if I've overclocked that, then I mean, where am I looking at that? I mean, is that in Nvidia's core? Is that in my core? And how? I mean, it depends on the overclocking I've done as well. There's a lot of Barbie's Horse Adventure 4. Yeah, it's a sick game. Absolutely lovely. You get a free poncho though with it, so yeah. So Asim's comments: communication and transparency as best as possible. Always good. Absolutely. For a game that's been out for a week to have had 2 rounds of updates to it, spot on. Even if it might be what people don't want to hear, they will mostly appreciate it. Absolutely. And I don't know.
It's always the vocal minority, though, and it's always the same. It doesn't matter. Like, how many people are on Twitter? I'd say 90, 100 million. How many people are probably playing your game? All right, we'll take, especially this game, we'll probably say overall, I don't know how much this has sold, but we'll just put a ballpark figure of 2 million on PC. And if only 5,000 to 10,000, so maybe 50,000 will cap it as that, are having problems or are screaming on Twitter, then that speaks volumes for itself, really, doesn't it?
The thing is, though, even if it's only that vocal minority, they're still getting the fixes that they want quickly,
exactly,
which is huge. And the thing is, I mean, I think it was Ed Sutton commenting on something that is relevant to Asim. So for those watching, full disclosure, we are supporting Asim and the team at CI Games with Sniper Ghost Warrior contracts. But however, that doesn't fuel Ed's opinions. And Ed Sutton, I believe it was Ed, maybe I'm wrong, but someone shared screenshots of CI Games as posts about Sniper Ghost Warrior, and some multiplayer content that will be coming after launch. It was Ed, there we go, Asim saying it. So Ed shared a comment, it wasn't even his comment, Ed shared a screenshot of the comments on a CI Games post where they've said, look, we've said that the game will have a solid single player, and we said that the game will have multiplayer. Single player is coming at launch, as it always would do, because that's the bread and butter of the game. Multiplayer is coming after launch, and the screenshot that Ed shared was like, look at that, there you go, there's a brand being upfront and honest, and the comments were all positive. I mean, naturally, people would see that as a negative in terms of, yeah, okay, something I expected isn't coming, not happy. But people are like, do you know what, as long as you're doing the good job, as long as it's coming out on time, as long as the bread and butter is there, then fine, and then I can wait for the extras afterwards, which was nice to see. And that's what Asim, as you can see, believes, because his comment, communication and transparency as best as possible, always good. Absolutely. And fair play to Rockstar. I mean, one thing with Rockstar I always do find a little bit kind of like, not cloak and dagger, because that's a negative term. It's almost like they have you watched Game of Thrones, babe?
No, I'm probably the only person in the world that hasn't.
Well, there's a character called Varys that has what he calls his little birds, and they're people that listen and send him whispers. So basically, he always knows what's happening anywhere, everywhere in the city, like little spies, effectively. And I always get the impression that Rockstar has that. Maybe I'm just unaware of where their community site is, where their feedback loop is. But they just seem to know what's happening. And I don't know, maybe you guys can correct me. I don't know where they get that feedback from, but they always seem to know what's happening and are always on top of fixing it, which means they have a really good, either they're just using social listening tools, which is working really well for them, or they have community figureheads that they entrust, or they do have a site, and maybe I've just not known, but whatever their listening device is, it works really well for them, because heard lots of feedback, fixed 2 chunks of it within a week, and they're still rolling forward. And everyone gets a poncho! I don't know if I mentioned that. Anyway, that's enough of the to answer Shogun's question, it didn't actually say it. We're talking about Red Dead Redemption 2's launch on PC there. The fact that it had a wobbly PC launch, they've put some fixes out, and more fixes were coming out yesterday. And as a result of that, everyone's getting a free poncho as a signal of their gratitude for sticking with them. Moving on to our second piece of news on the scoop today. Wobbly Ponch! Our second piece of news today. Do you want to pick this one up, Bibarino, or should I?
Yes, of course I can. Not a problem. So this has been written on the Metro. We tend to feature these. They do actually have some really good stuff on them. For those of you that are actually interested in the news, feel free to go over to there and have a look. Regular update in it.
I have to stop you straight away. Instantly
Why
to go on a tangent. One, because we have Manchester United's executive club advertisements on screen. Oh, that's nice. But for those of you that are listening on podcast services later on the day, you won't be able to see the advertisement for the next piece of news in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen that has just caught my eye.
That is horrendous.
Man jailed.
Advertising that?
Man jailed for kicking seagull to death. What the fuck?
Oh my god! How is that on an autoplay?
It's bizarre.
So weird people in the world, man.
Yes. Anyway, sorry, babe. I will let you continue.
Moving back onto Pokemon swiftly. Pokemon Sword and Shield review, gonna miss them all. Okay, so this is something that we kind of talked about yesterday in regards to. I keep on saying in regards to, but I feel like I need to say that.
Yeah, I think you should say that in regards to all of this news, in regards to other things, regards. Anyway, my regards.
Everything regarding. This is something that we talked about yesterday. It seemed like they had pushed back the reviews. It was meant to be coming out on Tuesday at 1 p.m, but it actually got released yesterday at 1 p.m. So like they pushed it back 24 hours. That could have been because of the host of problems that they were receiving via the Reddit thread that we posted yesterday. That we read out yesterday, which included it seemed like one big giant hot mess of things that was wrong within the game. But it looks like the reviews have come out and we're going to read about it now. So Pokemon Sword and Shield review, going to miss them all, written by Game Central on the metro.co.uk website. The most controversial new Pokemon game ever is finally here, but what's new, what's wrong, and what's missing in Sword and Shield? Now this is one hell of an article, so I'm not going to go through it all because it literally is about 30 paragraphs on this. So if Graham is if Graham's showing you on the screen, it's a giant scroll. So I'm just going to pick out a few key bits, and at the very bottom there is like a little small roundup, which we'll go through. So I'm going to read the first 2 paragraphs, and then we'll move towards the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Anyone that's been a fan since the early days will have their own idea of the dream Pokemon game. At first, simply being on a home console was enough. But as that aspiration was diluted by spin-offs, we at least began to imagine a cross between an open-world MMO and a friendlier version of Monster Hunter. Needless to say, Pokemon Sword and Shield is nothing like that. In fact, while it's been promoted as a major milestone for the franchise, that's highly debatable in a game that takes away so much as it adds. Thanks to the Pokemon Go, the general concept of Pokemon has never been more popular than it is now, even if many fans have never played the mainline entry in the series. That's a gap in experience last year Pokemon Let's Go tried to bridge, as it attempted to reconcile the complex and system-filled gameplay of the core titles, which with a much more simplistic mobile app. Jesus Christ. Since it also doubled as a remake of the very first Pokemon games, we felt it worked well in its role, as well as giving the developer Game Freak some useful practice and creating a home console or hybrid as the Switch is. But despite all the talk of this being a major mainline entry with new open-world environments, the core Pokemon Sword and Shield is still very similar to Let's Go, and indeed all the preceding Pokemon games. You do have to catch Pokemon properly now by battling them, and there's a greater depth of features, but not as many as you might be expecting. That means it's still perfectly accessible for those that only play Pokemon Go, but also inevitable disappointment for longer-term fans. I'm going to read one more paragraph, and then we'll go to the bottom and we'll read the roundup. Sword and Shield are sold separately with Played Sword, but there's very few differences between the two. Normally, no one is expected to buy both versions, and the few differences, primarily a small number of unique Pokemon in each, are to encourage trading. That's the standard for any Pokemon game. This is essentially Pokemon 8, although at the time of the 3 gyms are also exclusive, which crosses a line because it means there is something substantially different in each game that can't be shared by just trading.
Not a fan of that bit of news. I did not know that. I mean, I knew the trading across games, completely on board with that. I remember back in the day having to trade between my red and my mate's blue, and having to do that. Does anyone even have a data link cable or whatever it used to be called? It's like, and then finally figured it out, and then getting it, and then doing the trading. Fine, completely with that. But having gyms across the games, that's almost like paywall sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's basically, it is now two different games rather than it used to be in like red and blue where it's exactly the same game, pretty much. But this is asking you to pay, how much is this game on launch? About 45 quid. This is asking you to pay 90 sheets for both of these games to actually complete, quote unquote, the game. But I've just had a quick skim through the next paragraph, so I'm just gonna read this one and then we'll move to the bottom where it has the roundup. It just this article is brilliant. Like, if you are interested in this game, then feel free. It's going to be in the show notes. Load up this article. It's a really good in-depth analysis of what the game's like. So I feel like I'm robbing you by not reading it all, but we will be here all day if we do. The gameplay basics are the same as always, as you tour the new land of the Gala, capturing and training Pokemon to battle for you in your attempt to become the gym champion. A post currently held by your best friend's old brother, there's even less story than usual for the series to go through, and almost the entirety of the game, there is no real villain or any plot more complex than a vaguely researching a historical event that left Gala Pokemon with the ability to transform into giants via a process called Dynamaxing for short periods of time. So it looks like they've stripped out the entire game. This is kind of what Jordan was saying. Enix, he was in the chat the other day. This is probably one of the reasons why he cancelled his pre-order. Now, I was always under the impression of I'd probably still end up playing the game because it's a Pokemon game, and I wouldn't cancel my pre-order because I kind of knew what I was expecting. However, this seems to be the exact opposite. And the core Pokemon values don't seem to be there in this one. Whether or not it's because they had, I want to say they had less time, but they actually didn't. This is the first mainline Pokemon game that's come out on the Switch, forgetting Let's Go, because that was kind of a port with upscale graphics kind of thing. It wasn't a core game, and yeah, it's a weird one. So they've had a long time to be able to do this game since the 3DS. Last game on the 3DS, so I don't really think I should cut them slack in that regard.
It's quite ironic because we've I'll tell you, I go off screen while we're chatting. We've had conversations about how why I won't play more Pokemon games, not excitedly anyway. I might play them if actually, do you know what, it's just here and I've got it and I've got nothing else to do. I mean, I have plenty more to do. I've got many more games that I need to play, but the fact that I've got more games, I've got more things that I haven't been through that I could give my time to, other than doing a different skinned version of the Pokemon story. But I was saying, once they change that, then I might be interested. And they've changed it now, but now they've just gone off.
For the worse.
Everybody knows the story. Let's take all the meaning and just have the basic parts of it there now. And it's like, what? I mean, change it for the better. You don't just go, oh, fuck it, people know it, let's just cut that out, and then, yeah. I mean, Alistair said, how many Pokemon are there now? Wasn't there like 700 as opposed to like over 1,000 or 1,500, whatever it should have been?
Yeah, it's and the what was it? What was the percentage that they actually cut? Apparently, but the 75% are worse. I can't remember how many it was that they cut. I think it was, I want to say about 300 that didn't make the final cut, but that could be entirely wrong. Like, if obviously you do know this, then feel free to put it in the chat or tweet us after the show's finished if you want to carry on the conversation. But I'm sure it was the hefty chunk of Pokemon. They cut about 40%.
807 apparently, but 75% are the worst.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't even see the 807. I just seen the apparently, but 75. Yeah, it's shocking, really.
And wasn't it something like there was only like 60 or 70 new Pokemon as well? So it's not even as if they've added half or almost a third of the first generation. Despite this being the most recent one. One thing I do want to mention though is just jumping back to the Seagull stuff. I guess you could say he's now a jailbird.
Oh my sweet Jesus!
Sorry, Mr. Tanvir, I'm gonna have to time you out in the chat now because only I make puns that bad. Fatman Dev says, "Quick impression for you. Caw, bang, fuck, I'm dead." That's a quote from the film The Crow, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. Oh god, the video is playing. I did see that. I was chuckling away to. Oh no, it was that before it. Hey guys,
was it going on as I was reading it?
Yeah, it started doing autoplay stuff, so I killed it. Hey guys, good to catch you this morning. Just got out of the lockup after an unfortunate moment with a seagull last night, says the adventurist.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to bring the article back up, so you can read the summary. In short, the fur-over exit may be overblown, but without it, it's underwhelming and an unambitious attempt to modernise Pokemon and expand on its horizons. The pros of the game, the core Pokemon gameplay is engrossing as ever, and the wild area is small but important step forward. Some great new Pokemon designs and surprisingly fun scripts. The cons, low-tech visuals and production values, too few new features, and too many old ones that are removed or smoothed over to the point of irrelevance. The overall score that the Metro give the game is a 7 out of 10.
Sounded like they were going for a how now brown cow then. Too few new features.
They're asking me kind of times to try and say stuff like that. I'm just going to have a quick look on Metacritic and see what the crack is over there, really, because I haven't looked at it this morning. Now, these have given it a 7. Metro. So are you interested? 81 on Metacritic for Pokemon.
Still scoring fairly highly then. I mean, that in short sentence kind of summarises what my impression of it is anyway. I mean, my version of a Metacritic. So from all of the comments that I've seen from community, from reviews and so on, the furore over Dexit may be overblown, but even without this, it's an underwhelming and unambitious attempt to modernise Pokemon and expand its horizons. I have seen that as quite a consistent feeling in terms of the hardcore naturally are pissed off at Dexit. Once again, that wouldn't be something that would affect me, but the rest of it is kind of the opinion that I've had, that it just doesn't. Underwhelming is the perfect word. Not so much unambitious, because that could be a charged word, but underwhelming. I would, from what I've seen, I'm quite underwhelmed. Like, okay.
Yeah. Okay, but the Metacritic score of Pokemon Sword, shall we say, I assume it's the same for the other one, is 81. And this usually tells you by how many people. 19 so far from the critic. IGN have given it a 93, GameSpot have given it a 90, Game Informer 88, Nintendo Life 80, and Daily Star 60. They're the main ones that I've seen from here. So people are still reviewing it quite well. However, we'll wait to see how bad this could potentially get once it gets released to the wild, and every man and his dog can have an opinion on it.
Yeah, tomorrow, 15th of November 2019, as it says in the article there from Metro, I believe it was. Original 150 were the best aside from Tepig. He's cute. I do like Tepig. That guy, classic Pokemon adventurist, talks about Psyduck, which Shogun responded to his comment saying, they best have kept that psychic duck dude. He was a right beaky bastard. Loved him. Partridge.
Jesus. Well, at the moment, it stands as the 54th best game this year on the Nintendo.
I mean, I always kind of find that sort of stuff like hard to comprehend. It's the 54th best game because I work in games. But someone go, tell me 53 other games that have released this year. I'll be like,
yeah.
And that's just on Nintendo as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Divinity this year is apparently the number one reviewed game that came out this year. Second to Dragon Quest. Set in second place to Dragon Quest. Fire Emblem's fourth. Super Mario Maker sixth. Zelda Link's Awakening is eighth. So there's quite a lot of competition this year. I didn't actually realise how many AAA games actually got released on the Switch this year. You kind of forget as you get closer towards the close of 2019. We've also had Luigi's Mansion in that time. Star Wars Pinball did quite well. Cuphead reviewed extremely well. And then a few Final Fantasy games. Tetris 99 has made the top 20. That came out in February 13th, 2019.
Tetris is such a bizarre game. I was listening to, it was last week's, I think it was, one of the kind of funny dailies, and they were talking about how GTA 5 has now it sold like 5 million copies in the last 3 months or something. Many games never sell 5 million copies. A 7-year-old game has sold 5 million copies in the last 3 months, and they were saying how that's like third in the all-time game sales chart. First is Minecraft with like 170 million copies, or 176 I think it might be. Second is Tetris, which has got 170 million copies sold, and then third is GTA with, I think it was like 50 million behind or something like that. But it was the fact that like Minecraft is sales of Minecraft. GTA is sales of GTA, but Tetris is every single version of Tetris that's ever.
It's shit that they've done that.
Yeah, it's almost like someone's gone, oh well, let's just tweak the stats so that we can say something cool about Tetris and give them a It's not for me, Jeff. It's not for me, Jeff.
I mean, there's so many different iterations. Like same episode, they were saying that even Tetris Effect that came out I think it was either this year or last year. I can't remember. It was Mr. Mark Bamber's Game of the Year. Anyway, and that even counts towards it because it's got the word Tetris in it. Now, if that's the case, then surely that should be a blanket thing across all the rest of the games in the world. So Grand Theft Auto 5 should be combined with GTA 4, 3, 2,
Vice
and
City,
1.
San Andreas, and
absolutely,
I
that seems such a shit thing to do.
But then you throw in Vice City Stories, Liberty City Stories, the mobile versions as well. So because I think that applies to Tetris, the mobile versions accounting for sales and things there as well. Which
same with what's it called? Minecraft. You just mentioned that as well. That is available on everything, literally everything. Mobile devices, tablets, every single console, including PC as well. I don't want to include them to insult the PC master race, but yeah, it's available on that as well. So yeah, that's the reason why that's at the top of the list, because everyone can play it. But yeah, it's interesting. I'd like to see if you could buy Fortnite, the Battle Royale. I would like to have seen where that placed.
Yeah.
Because you take away the money, the microtransactions and stuff like that that's in there. I would love to have seen how much that would have actually made if you could buy it over the counter kind of thing, rather than, I know you can pay for Fortnite, which is for the Save the World stuff, which is kind of online but offline. The other part of it that no one ever plays anymore. But to buy the actual Battle Royale one, if you had to do it like you did with PUBG, I would love to have seen how far that. Because I don't think it would have been half as successful, because the reason it is because it's made. Well, I don't want to say it's made for the younger demographic, because that's clearly insulting to people who make a living off it that are the same age as me. But
they are,
I don't think it would have.
I think it's not offensive. They are arguably broadcasting to a younger demographic, though. The people at the same age as you. So it's aimed at a younger not that anyone. It's aimed to be inclusive of a younger demographic, not that it's exclusively for. So yeah, I don't think that's too an offensive statement to say.
Yeah.
The only people that would be offended by it are all the stupid kids that play Fortnite.
It's in Westwood Anyhouse.
Sorry, I take it back. Joking. Chill out, lads. Chill out. Put those minty pickaxes down.
It'd have been interesting to see how far it would have charted, but we'll never find that out now. I think the peak of the game's been and gone. It is still extremely popular and will continue to be, I imagine, for the next 2 or 3 years. But I think people who would have probably wanted to buy it at the time, it's on the decline.
Yeah, I think the thing is as well, like you look at Minecraft, 10 years of sales, and that's up there. Tetris, absolutely skewed sales in terms of all of those games. GTA 5 has obviously 7 years of sales leading up to that. Fortnite, in 1 and a bit, 2 years worth of sales. If that was to be sold, I mean, obviously, it being sold wouldn't lead to the number of installs and the install base that it has now. But yeah.
But just a small little caveat on that as well. Grand Theft Auto is an 18+ game, so not everyone can actually go in and buy that game. Like you said that you set a PlayStation Network account up for your daughter. She wouldn't have been able to purchase that, obviously, without your permission. I think we touched on this a couple of weeks ago for another game. I can't remember what that was. But not everyone has access to be able to play Grand Theft Auto, and it's still managed to be as high as it is. Whereas Fortnite, you can download it. Anyone can download it. It's fine. It's got no age range on it.
Oh, we were talking about the restrictions and curfews on gaming ages and
That's it.
Amount of time played in. I can't remember.
It was China, wasn't it?
China, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a Magikarp tattoo, no regrets. Shogun says, how much did you splash out on that? £40 worth, everybody. A few years and it should evolve into a kick-ass dragon tattoo. If anything, we invested. Swiftly moving on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on to our next piece of news on Ice Cream Uploads. So as you can see on screen, Naughty Dog working on secret PS5 multiplayer game. And we're sticking with the Metro once again. This is written by that. I mean, talk about.
It must be a group of people.
No, it's just one conveniently named person, Mr. or Mrs. Game Central. What a name! It's like Arsene Wenger being born to manage Arsenal. It's like nominal determination. That's what it is. Anyway. Let's move off that slope and into the article where it says the makers of Uncharted claim to have big ambitions for what sounds like a spin-off from The Last of Us Factions multiplayer mode. Now that Death Stranding is out, Sony's next big exclusive is The Last of Us Part 2. Assuming it doesn't get yet another delay, it will be out on the 29th of May 2020, and Naughty Dog has given another clue as to what will follow. Let me just stop there for a second. Yet another delay. It's just shitty charged words. Delay, fine, absolutely delay, make it better. Yet another, I know they probably don't mean it, and they could argue that it's factually correct. Yeah, another delay, but is there really need?
It seems like a dig, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It seems like a little dig. It seems like someone's been pissed that they booked a week off work to play it, and now they know they can't have another week off because someone's booked that week off.
Or just
it comes out.
Tabloid sensationalism. Let's all be angry. Get your pitchforks at the ready. I mean, it's probably just them trying to increase the emotion behind the click through to another article where it says another delay, but
yeah,
I hate shit like that. Anyway, lead game designer Vinit Agarwal has tweeted out. Thank you. Has tweeted out a job ad for an online systems programmer, which might not seem terribly interesting, except for the fact that The Last of Us Part 2 has no multiplayer of any kind. That combined with the fact that multiplayer for the original Last of Us was highly regarded by fans makes it surprisingly easy to guess what the new project is. So here's a tweet shown in the article. And it's from Naughty Dog Jobs. That's at Naughty Dog Jobs on Twitter. Naughty Dog is seeking an online systems programmer to join our team. Visit, and then links through to apply. And then the image within it shows Ellie crouching what I assume is a Last of Us Part 2 screenshot. It looks like it, but
yeah. Why supply the image if you don't want that kind of thing being spread around? They don't want the rumor. They know exactly what they're doing when they post stuff like that. People are going, oh my god, they are doing multiplayer, which multiplayer is inevitably going to come to this without a doubt. They're not going to not include it. Fair enough, they're going to include it later on. But yeah, it's they definitely want to fuel something with an image like that being put next to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we want someone who is passionate about online games and is willing to jump into a variety of systems, including server technologies, core game networking, matchmaking, player data storage, and virtual store transactions, while maintaining a high standard for reliability and information security. Reads the job for the full ad. The full job ad, that's the one. What a backwards way of saying it. There's nothing to indicate the game is multiplayer only, but the description certainly implies that it's a major component, and the obvious assumption is that they're creating a standalone version of The Last of Us multiplayer mode, Factions. Alternatively, it could be an expansion for the main game, but if they're only hiring in November and the single player isn't out until May, that implies it's a way off yet, and therefore certain to appear on the PlayStation 5, as well as, presumably, PlayStation 4. The Last of Us Part 2 is very likely to be remastered for the PlayStation 5, but whether that would come first or not remains to be seen. Rumours of a standalone version of Factions have been floating about ever since it was announced that The Last of Us Part 2 had dropped the mode, with Naughty Dog themselves hinting as much. You will eventually experience the fruits of our team's online ambition, but not as part of The Last of Us Part 2, they said in September, which means this is already the second time they've hinted about a standalone multiplayer game. See, my take from that is, yeah, it could be a standalone multiplayer game. My take from that is there's still potential many angles. So Fortnite Save the World released, and then the not the multiplayer version, because obviously Save the World was multiplayer, but the bit that we all know now, the Battle Royale version, released separately as a free extra. So maybe there's that sort of angle. I think that's probably less likely. Not that they're going to make The Last of Us Battle Royale. But I could definitely see, from my perspective, maybe The Last of Us Part 2 hits PS4 May 2020. The Last of Us Part 2 comes on PS5, and rather than it just being remastered, maybe it's kind of like the way that GTA hit PC. So you got GTA on the consoles and stuff, but then it hit PC and it came with the first-person perspective mode, which people were massively hyped around, running around all of the streets that you've been driving around on console for the past few months, but doing it from first-person perspective. Obviously, first-person is huge on PC compared to consoles, stereotyping. So maybe The Last of Us Part 2 bringing that online multiplayer element rather than being standalone. Maybe, because they've said you will eventually experience the fruits of our team's online ambition, but not as part of The Last of Us Part 2. Maybe they're not being specific there and say, but not as part of The Last of Us Part 2, but maybe as part of The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, or whatever name they give to the PS5 version. Maybe it comes with that then, and that gives you then a reason to go out and pay the extra 40 quid to buy the game again to get it on PS5.
For me, straight away, this strikes me as something that they should not be doing. If they're going to be remastering the game 7 or 8 months later, that is just the biggest cash grab I think I've ever seen in my life. It's a bigger cash grab than when 2K even used to buy the game and used to have to buy a season pass to play online when you played WWE. But yeah, it's a dodgy one. That, I mean, what they should be doing is, I think we touched on this on a Scoop episode a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was something to do with Ubisoft, where you used to be able to put the disc in, and then it'd download the new texture packs for you to be able to play in a better resolution.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Assassin's Creed 4, first game on the PS4. If you had it on the PS3, you'd stick it in the PS4, and then it'd say, "Do you want to spend an extra £10 to buy it rather than spend an extra £55 to buy the standalone version?"
Yeah, that seems to be the perfect way. Everyone would easily pay an extra tenner to get the res version of it. But if you're going out and buying this game again 8 months later for £40, taking away, I did exactly the same thing for Grand Theft Auto. Then you're absolutely insane. Why? It's just a massive cash grab on the Last of Us name. Don't do that.
I think the thing is, they've done it with The Last of Us Part 1, and it was hugely successful in terms of adding a large number of sales. But there's probably a lot of people that have just gone, "Oh, well, I've not bought it yet, and I'm buying the PS5 for Christmas, so I'll get it there." So the remastering of it a few months later, it does kind of make sense in some aspects. I mean, I'm never a fan of the of paying more for the same game. That said, it costs to remaster a game, so I'm not a fan of buying the same game twice. I have done it with The Last of Us, and I have done it with GTA. So,
do you not think that they would have already created this in a 8K, 4K textures already, which they are potentially downgrading for the PlayStation 4, and it's been done at the same time?
Possibly, but even still, I don't think it's ever just that simple. I think there will be time and resources spent to, I mean, just decoding that into the PS4 framework and then doing the same thing on the PS5 framework will take some. I mean, that's why companies like, is it Platinum that are the ones that always get the ports for certain games? So yeah, that's why companies like those exist from a development standpoint to do the porting stuff. So there is a cost attributed to that. So I get that. Maybe I'm off the ball, off the my predictions. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe they're not looking to just port it with that in it. Maybe they're gonna do like, I mean, The Last of Us. What was the DLC? There was DLC in the first Last of Us. With Ellie's friend, or whatever the DLC was called. Basically, there was a DLC for The Last of Us, and there was DLC for Uncharted as well. Well, I said DLC. It was a kind of a spin-off game. I can't remember the name.
The name's missed.
Oh, well, there is DLCs, none of which I can remember the names of, even though, I mean, I didn't actually play The Last of Us 1. I was told it was okay. Left Behind. Yeah.
That shit show.
And the Uncharted one was the one where you played as the two lead female characters, Naomi and the Latino woman. Can't remember. Oh, whatever. But maybe they'll just add it in that sort of fashion. So Last of Us' two biggest releases recently, The Last of Us Naughty Dog, so The Last of Us and Uncharted 4, they both had follow-on paid DLC or additional games. So maybe that's what they're going to look to do with this, and they will have it as a standalone bit of story / online. So interesting to see. I'd like to see if they were going to do something like that. I'd like to see it be more like what's that game called? It came out for the PS4, and it was one where you had to play co-op, but you had to have two people. So you played it online, and it was a story.
A Way Out.
A Way Out. That's the one. That's the one. I'd like to see Naughty Dog do something like that myself. But yeah, I mean, that's just me throwing absolute wishful thinking out there. Nothing suggests that that's exactly what it is at all, but it'd be good to see. Anyway, move on from Naughty Dog. Let's check the chat. The yet is the bit that's crappy of them. Yeah, exactly. Yet another delay, and if it doesn't have yet another delay, it just sounds like there's been systematic delays. So, yeah. Stop being dicks, guys. There's no need for it. One thing that hasn't been delayed, but potentially should have been delayed. I mean, maybe not. I mean, I don't mind picking up this article, Bib, but I'll let you read who it's by.
This is what people come for, isn't it? So this is on Kotaku, and it has been written by Ethan Gach. This is what the people come for, clearly.
Nice, nailed it. So Ethan Gach from Kotaku says Google confirms. Do you know what? Let's just have a disclaimer here, ladies and gentlemen, Scramble Floods. We do provide you hopefully some knowledgeable insights of the games industry, but we also provide you with absolute immaturity alongside that. And we absolutely will not apologise for being immature. Yes, we probably do need to grow up a little bit more than we have in some aspects, but this is what you get. And now back to the news. Google confirms all the stuff Stadia won't have at launch. Ahead of Stadia's launch, what a title though. All the stuff it won't have. Here's the things you could have won. It's like bullseye sort of thing. Ahead of Stadia's launch next week, Google's representatives fielded questions during an AMA on Reddit about what exactly the video game streaming service will include in the beginning. The answer is not much. Do you know what?
What a surprise.
Absolute balls to them. The balls on them, should I say. I mean, GG for going out there and doing what is one of the most potentially threatening things in the world and doing an AMA. You as a brand ambassador cannot go, do you know what? AMAs are good for marketing. Let's go out there and just stand, because that's not how it works. I mean, you want to do that if you haven't researched your product. If you jump on an AMA thinking it's just gonna be good, then you haven't researched your product and the audience and the kind of people that will use Reddit. However, I don't believe that Google have done that. What I think they've done, and I haven't read this article, so that my theory will probably be proven as we go through it, is that Google believe in their product and they believe that transparency, whether positive or negative or not, depending on how people perceive that, they believe that transparency is important. And the fact that they've gone out there and put themselves on Reddit and done an AMA, obviously a lot of negative stuff has come out, as it has, potentially in this article, but do you know what? Fair play to them, because a lot of brands, and in not just the games industry, in just general sales, wouldn't do that. They wouldn't go on an AMA and allow people to field questions from wherever. So fair play.
Do you want to know what the last company, who the last company was that did something like this, which is a very similar product that ended up tanking after about 3 weeks?
Go on then.
Ouya! Exactly the same thing, exactly the same concept.
Who?
AMAs, that Ouya. So you don't? Do you remember who that was?
I thought you just I was really excited to have said something. I thought it had like cut out, and you just said like it was Apple. Booyah! I was like,
no, it was an Ouya, Ouya. That was kind of the same concept. It was kind of the same market employees that went around it, and that didn't last long at all.
I think that OUY, it does sound familiar.
Yeah, it looked like on live. It's kind of very much the same thing as that. But yeah, I think hopefully they don't go down the same route. But yeah, that was $100 or 100 quid on release. A lot of comparisons being drawn at this point, but hopefully they'll prove us all wrong.
Well, for those of you that are curious about Ouya, as I am, I've just Googled Ouya, literally OUYA, and we have videos that says, I bought an Ouya in 2019, which is obviously kind of charged that who buys them in 2019. Next one, Ouya is dead, long live the... Oh, never mind. And then the next one, Ouya, failure, regret, death. Wow, that escalated quickly.
But yeah, Spawn Wave on that second video Spawn Wave, I bought an Ouya in 2019. If you don't watch his YouTube channel, go and subscribe to that guy. He is amazing. He's I don't know if he used to be a dev or used to manufacture consoles, but he basically takes apart older consoles or just strips them down to show what's inside them, and his knowledge on anything to do with video games is incredible. So yeah, feel free to go over and watch any of his stuff. is insane.
Well, the people also ask section also kind of probably reaffirms why I forgot what the Ouya was, because people also ask, is Ouya dead? Who bought Ouya? Is Ouya still supported? And finally, what was the Ouya? So yeah,
it's good. Hopefully he doesn't go down that path.
What was the Stadia?
Google had their own stadium? Mental.
So let's jump into the Stadia article. Let's bring it back on screen. The whole thread was a good reminder that much of Stadia remains as theoretical. Oh, I've got what's it called open? Source code. Let's have a look at the source code as we... Nope, get out of here. Ahead of Stadia's launch next week, Google done that bit. The whole thread was a good reminder that much of Stadia remains as theoretical as it seemed when it was originally pitched during its reveal at Google's GDC 2019 press conference. That is so far away, so far back that it was revealed at GDC. I remember it being revealed whilst I was in the office. It was like 5-6 o'clock ish UK time, and I remember like the broadcast going out there. I was having a chat with Mr. Bamba at the same time, thinking, do you know, it sounds like it could be good. It does sound like it's far-fetched and it's reaching, but it sounds like exactly what I would like to work in games consoles. And then fast forward to the game console comes out in 5 days' time, and I have exactly the same questions. It sounds like it could be good, but it also sounds like it might not work. So yeah, that's what this article by Ethan Gach, and Shout says, we love a bit of the Gach in the thread, in the chat, should I say. Ethan Gach goes on to say, stream, connect, state, share, and crowd play. The main features that allow players to join in one another's games and make Stadia more than just glorified remote play. I expect the first game with Stream Connect to launch by the end of the year, said... That was Bibby blowing his nose, by the way.
That's just my disappointed nose. It's like the Graham Growl. It's like the Graham Growl, but with a lot more disappointment.
Less anger, more disappointment.
Yeah.
I expect the first... I'll read that again. I expect the first game with Stream Connect to launch by the end of the year, said Andrei Doronichev, Stadia's director of product. The games that support state share and crowd play will be released next year. And then onto Stadia's achievement system. The service will still record when you hit various milestones in games, but you won't actually get notifications for them or see them displayed anywhere until shortly after launch. So basically, we know you'll get achievements, you won't. The ability to use existing Chromecast Ultras to play games. See, this is the bit that I thought was a bit shit. At launch, only the Chromecast Ultras that ship with Stadia controllers will have the updated firmware required to stream games. We will be updating the existing Chromecast Ultras over the air soon after launch, Doronichev said. That's just a bit shit. It's almost like, if you want to use it, you want to play it, you want to use your Chromecast Ultras, then you have to buy exactly what we've got. It's almost that enforced purchasing of new accessories and peripherals with the new generation of consoles. Except they've not got a previous generation. Oh, I said except, not Alexa. Shut up, go away. Stop flashing at me, stupid device. Alexa, stop! There we go. For those of you that probably might be aware by now, I have an Amazon device just here in the studio that's kind of like listening to me. Anyway, they don't have existing console generations. What they're trying to do is break into an already difficult market. What they should do is make that work as easily and effortlessly as possible. And by having it not working with it's already out there, or not having day one software updates for their other devices to assist with that, is kind of a bit naff. Family sharing. While parents will be able to control what their kids can access on their accounts, multiple people in the same house won't be able to share games on the service until later on. But that's a high priority feature, and we're planning to launch early next year, Doronichev said. Buddy passes. Founders editions of Stadia are supposed to come with buddy passes that people can give a friend a free month Stadia subscription to play games with them. But those passes won't actually be sent out until weeks after launch. What the fuck? I didn't know that. That's ridiculous. You'll get your buddy pass about 2 weeks after you receive your bundle, barring some unknown unknowns popping up. Never happens, ? Said Berry Lee, who works on the Stadia's game publishing side. Shit organisation. My God, that's okay. Moving on. A Stadia controller, at least for some people. Everyone who pre-ordered Stadia will get the codes to sign onto the service starting November 19th, and will be able to play on their phones or Chrome desktop browser with a keyboard and mouse. However, the packages containing the controllers and Chromecasts, i.e. the things you actually purchased, will have staggered shipping. Sent out in the order pre-orders were received. I ordered my Stadia Founders Edition in June, and my delivery date says November 20th, 21st, Lee said, offering an example. So he ordered in June. He's not getting it until a couple of days at least after launch. That was June. That was 5 months ago. And he's still not getting his at launch. Another person commenting on the AMA said they currently had an estimated ship date of late November, early December. Moving atoms is a bit more complicated and less predictable than moving bits, Doronichev said. So the actual delivery date will depend on the mail truck, traffic lights, etc. They are blaming the fact that people potentially won't get their product on release because traffic lights. That's amazing.
I don't even know what to say at this point.
We also learned earlier this week that the service will only support 12 games at launch, though they include some great ones like Red Dead Redemption 2 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey, with 14 more expected by the end of the year, including Borderlands 3. We still don't know which games will come to the service after that, or when. And remember, all of these games need to be purchased separately, in addition to Stadia's £9 monthly Stadia Pro subscription cost. The free, stripped-down version of Stadia won't be available until next year.
God.
So, yeah. So basically, what they do have at launch is cost, but what they don't have at launch is stuff. Okay, nice. Got that nailed down. Our approach to releasing features of Stadia is similar to how we run Google Search, YouTube, and other Google services. Gradual rollout and continuous improvement based on your feedback, Dornichef said. We also start with nailing the key user journey and then proceed with releasing extra features. YouTube started with watch video. For Stadia, it's play the game on your biggest screen. Unless you want to do that at launch, then it's just on your mobile, and unless you want to use other Chromecast devices, but only the ones that you already haven't got already. So, I mean that whole, I mean, it could be a charged thread. I mean, it was kind of charged from the off, in terms of it's listing all the things that Stadia won't have at launch. It's written in a negative rhetoric. Let's talk about the things it doesn't do, which kind of pushes in that direction. But my God, if that's the stuff that it doesn't do, what does it do? I mean, we know it has 12 games, but you can't play them at launch unless you ordered it like back in March. You will have to wait from 2 days to a month, maybe, obviously depending on the traffic lights. And when you play the games, you can't play with your mates, not for a few weeks, because we've not done that yet. And if you do play the games, you won't get any recognition in terms of achievements and awards. And if you do want to play the games, then you won't be able to use your Chromecast Ultras to stream it to your other screens and stuff, because, you know, they've just not updated those yet. And you can't share anything with people in your family as well. So, yeah. What?
They've got a lot to deliver in a very short space of time, and they're already making excuses. That is, it's never good news. It's never good news. And like your brother said in the chat, it's a good thing Google has money, or if it was a startup company, it would be dead already, which is exactly why I pointed to the Uyo situation a couple of minutes ago. They've got a lot to do. And on live as well, yeah. We were showing that on stream about a month ago.
Yeah.
I think it was in the first week, actually.
Maybe even the very first episode of The Scoop. We got our in-studio on live that we have, just to remind us exactly what, if it pulls everything out of the bag, Google Stadia could be. Yeah. No, I'm joking. The thing is, I'm saying this massively negatively. I really, really want Stadia to succeed. Or at least, if it doesn't succeed, push the envelope before it fails. Because that level of competition will just drive consoles further than they are at the moment.
Absolutely.
That streaming games to your computer or to your TV, just onto a little USB-sized HDMI dongle kind of thing. Amazing. Take the games where you got, nobody could say that isn't lovely. To say, do you know what? You've got your in-home console that you play on your TV in your comfy chair with your surround sound, your 55-inch 4K, 8K, whatever TV, and you've got whatever stuff around it, and it's lovely, it's nice, and it's comfortable. But do you want to be able to play that when you go somewhere else as well? Nobody's going to go, no, I only play there and I refuse to have the option to do that. That option is so cool. But everything around it, I mean, I understand some of the stuff. I understand the logistics. Having the logistics to deliver and ship consoles, and because it's not just a piece of paper, it's not an envelope. You send it out a full box. That's not just something the postman's going to do, and the established mail services are going to do. And I think that's the reason why, I could be wrong, I could be hitting my facts wrong here. Things like PlayStation have only recently, I think it was like within the last month, started to commit to sell their own hardware directly. I think Nintendo do it. I think Microsoft have their own infrastructure set up as well, but obviously Microsoft have got different hardware that they're selling in the gaming space anyway, with PCs and so on. But even PlayStation have only recently started to get the logistical infrastructure set up so that they can deliver their products everywhere. So, I mean, I know Google sells a lot of phones, and I know that they have a number of other products, be it digital and the Google Home stuff. But that stinks to me in terms of they've underestimated just how difficult it would be to fulfill so many orders, which I can kind of let that go, because that's not their bag. that is the postal services bag or whatever. Fair enough. All right, we're not going to get it, and we can't do out about that. But that's not you. You don't program the postal services. You program the content and the hardware. You do the marketing. You make sure that people get the codes and stuff like that. So why aren't I getting my Buddy Pass codes until 2 weeks after launch? Why? And this bit, you'll get your Buddy Pass about 2 weeks after you receive your bundle, barring some unknown unknowns popping up. Well, clearly those unknown unknowns have already popped up. But for a company like Google, that unknown unknown to just go, oh yeah, these bunch of codes, you're not getting those till 2 weeks later. Why? That should have been boxed off a month ago. Why are you not? You are Google. This is the kind of company that has interview questions, and this is not even a bullshitting thing. This is an actual interview question. Someone goes to Google for a job, and their question isn't, so what's your biggest strength, or what is your weakness, or whatever. Their question is, okay, using reasoning. Obviously, your answer doesn't have to be correct. The more correct it is, the more impressed we will be, but it doesn't have to be nailed on. We want to know your deductive reasoning. But in America, at any one point in time, how many golf balls are in the air? Go. And it's like, the fuck? You sit there, but then that's them testing you to go on and think, okay, in America, there are... is it 50 states or is it 51? I always forget. A number of states, and in those states, let's say, based on my state, I know there's probably 15, 20 golf courses. So 20 golf courses, let's assume that average goes across all of it. So there's 20 golf courses by 50 states. There's 100 golf courses, 500 golf or whatever, 1,000 golf courses. Anyway, so in those golf courses, there's going to be X amount of people playing at any one point in time. They're probably not going to hit a shot once every 10, 15 minutes. So that many people, you probably got one, maybe two golf balls in the air per golf course at the time. Then they've got driving ranges as well, which might be add a bunch more, and it's that next level, going beyond it, reasoning and working out times of days and factor it. It's basically like they're trying to see if you can consider multiple variables, something that you wouldn't expect. But clearly, they don't apply it to their own product launches because, sorry mate, not got your buddy passes because of unknown unknowns, and there may be more unknown unknowns. What? But by the way, that is an actual question. I know someone that was asked that question for an interview at Google. And another question is something along the lines of, it's either how many windows are being washed in San Francisco, or how long does it take, or how many... something to do with washing windows in the San Francisco area or something like that. And it was just like, or how long would it take to wash all the windows? And then you have to do calculations based on how many buildings, how many windows they will have, how many people it will take to wash, how long it takes one person to wash a window, how big the windows are. And it's not just based on maths, although it obviously is a big part of it. But yeah, so they ask questions like that for people of important positions. But for them to just say, oh yeah, we've not got the software ready for our supporting devices, we've not got our buddy passes for you to invite your friends at launch. So not only do you have a very small series of games, but you can't play with anyone. No friends for you, mate. And that social recognition, that passing the baton, going, do you know what, babe? I've got my Stadia here. You should jump in and play it. And if you sat there and played it, you actually like, this is pretty sick. No latency, no nothing. Yeah, okay, I'm interested. But now they missed that hype. What's going to happen is it's going to come out and there's going to be bugs and there's going to be issues and stuff like that. Or maybe that's a smart decision. Maybe they've gone, well, fuck knows. It could be Red Dead. We could have to roll out 2 updates within a week by postponing those buddy passes for 2 weeks. People are only going to play once we've had 14 days to fix shit. So maybe they're more intelligent than I think.
Yeah, it's a very, very odd one. It just brings me back to the put up originally when it was going on sale, like all the stuff that you're going to be able to get, and half of that stuff that they put up is now no longer available. People have been sued for less, so we'll see how long it takes them to deliver the rest of the stuff that they promised people. We can go from there, really.
I think the advert for it should be some guy in a warehouse with all of the controllers on launch day saying, Google, Stadia, way, way.
Nice. He's been sitting on that one.
They should rename it Google Won't Let You Play. Great name, catchy, said Shogun. Google won't let you play. Yeah, I want it to be successful. I'm once again, you can clearly tell from my tone, just disappointed in in the stuff around it. My issues initially weren't issues; they were fears. It was based on that 10.5 gig an hour needed to be able to play a game. You need if you don't have an IP or a connection that can support consistently playing at 10.5 gig an hour, you're not going to play it 4K 60
or a data
FPS.
cap.
Yeah, exactly. So my issues was originally on things like that. I mean, my patchy internet, I'll be fine. Stop, and then it'll slow down, and then it'll super catch up, and it'll be fine, and it'll be fine again for 30 minutes. Boom. Or it might be two quick bursts in 3 minutes. You never know. So how's that going to work? So that's where my initial issues come from. This all just kind of like sounds to me they may have bitten off more than they can chew. However, we've all said in different variations in the chat, and Bibby said it himself, is that, and my brother said it, saying Google has money. If it was a startup company, it would be dead already. He said already that if they were a startup, they'd be dead already. But they aren't a startup. They can take these cuts, they can bandage themselves back up, and then they could just crack on with it again. So yeah, maybe, hopefully, they can absorb any potential loss or any potential negativity. One thing they can't do, though, is allow this negativity to get to the point where developers start to pull out. That's what she said. Because the user base pulling out is kind of a catch-22. If you don't have the users, you won't get the developers. But if you don't have the developers making games, you won't get more new users, and it becomes a vicious circle then. You've not got the developers, so you're not getting new users. You're not getting more new users to the developers, and your user base gets smaller and smaller to the point where you have to go, hi, we're Ouya, or we're OnLive, or we're whatever. Boom. That's it. We've hit our peak, lowest saturation point, whatever the term. We can't go any smaller without going kaput, and that's it. We've hit that point. We're done now. So if they can push through this, and if they can have some creative campaigns, and if they can get more content, and if get the developers on board, or release some ways to play, some bits of content, something that other consoles don't have to bring people in, then if they can start to get some momentum that way, fair enough. But at this point, it's not even at launch, and it's looking like they're going to have a long, old uphill battle to fight.
Absolutely. It's going to be an interesting few weeks for them anyway.
Fun fact. If anyone is looking for a graphics card, Luke from the ice cream team is looking to sell his GTX 1050 Ti. I mean, that's not actually anything to do with ice cream. I've just seen it pop up on the office Slack. That's what that in my ear was. So there you go. 1050 Ti. Check out @Jiroon on Twitter. Hashtag ad. Hashtag sell. Hashtag I'm having some of that commission, Luke. Yo. It's that before it's time, it's not ready. Yeah, exactly. It is. I think it is that. It's before its time. It's not ready. But hopefully Google can absorb that the cost that comes with the releasing an unfinished product or too soon, because that's it. Before its time, it is before its time. I mean, if this is before its time, then OnLive was, it shouldn't have even been considered 10 years ago. Yeah. LOL, my club on Stadia will be amazing. Pull out games, strong. Yeah, absolutely. Love. So yeah, hopefully they can fix it. Hopefully they can continue. I'm saying fix. I mean, what do I know? The game's 5 days. The console is 5 days away from release. It could absolutely smash it, and I hope it does. I genuinely hope it does. Because if it does, I will happily pick up Stadia. The console does look like one of those third party. The controller looks like a third party Nintendo Switch one. Does look a bit pants. But apparently they put the research into it being that way. I've never actually felt it, so the form factor could be wonderful. But I just hope it works. I hope it does. That 4K or gaming on the move kind of thing, I love that flexibility, and that's what we as gamers should be hoping for. Just we as gamers just shouldn't be accepting that we can buy a console that we won't get on launch when we've pre-ordered it 5 months early, and our passes for our friends that we promised won't come either, and all of the existing hardware that should work with it won't work with it until it's just, do you know what, Google, you've missed this one. You've not done very well. Let's hope you can fix it. And that's the Graham D final thought. We need a Jerry Springer theme tune, or whatever. I don't even know what it goes like. I was kind of doing the dun, dun, dun. I can't even do it. The bit at the end of The Simpsons, anyway, where you see someone in the cinema and he goes, shh. That's what I jumped to thinking that was Jerry Springer. But I think, ladies and gentlemen, let me just quickly check. That was our last piece of news here on Astronaut Plus, and it bloody was. He bloody was.
It was.
So, as Shaw says, pull out game strong. Well, our pull out game is going to be very strong right now as we pull out of the broadcast here on twitch.tv/ice cream uploads. But it's not over. Well, it is. It will be. But you can watch it back on demand on youtube.com/ice cream uploads. And the 4 podcast services previously dropped in this show, if you want to see what they are, I'm not going to tell you again. You can check them out on Twitter. We will have all of the links a little bit later on when they go live today. So keep your eyes out. Twitter.com/ice cream uploads. If you're ever in doubt, just search for ice cream uploads. All one word, no spaces. You don't even need the caps, just ice cream uploads. That's how easy it is to find us. Do it. And if you are watching here, if you've been lingering, if you are new, make sure you hit the follow button because you will be notified when we go live on Twitch tomorrow. Do it. There's a little button just kind of like there. It's like the purpley one. Hit the follow button. And then, yeah, when we come live again tomorrow, 10 a.m., you will get a notification. You don't even have to look out for the tweets. We will bring the notifications to you. And that's it. We will be live at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Twitch.tv/ice cream uploads. The show will be back on YouTube and we will have more podcast services delivered straight into your on-demand locations tomorrow. So make sure you go follow and sub to everything. You get me. But I think that's kind of it from us, Bibberino, unless you have anything else you would like to add.
If you do see anything that you want us to comment on, feel free to tag us. We've got Webinio on Twitter, or Graham_Day on Twitter, or as Graham just mentioned, any of the Ice Cream Uploads social platforms. But for me, I'll see you tomorrow at 10.
One final thought. A final thought. Acid Tanvir says, "What's my club?" Levels, says Shogun FC, just as he gets skinned by Dennis Irwin, a 50-year-old man who's just absolutely melted. But unlucky! Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you tomorrow. Twitch.tv/ice cream uploads, and all the rest. Until then,